Hello everyone, and welcome to this video lesson. In Module 4, we will get to know the main information management tools, which are reference management software tools. In the module, we will see the following aspects. First, we will get to know what exactly a reference management software is, and then we'll go to some tips or some characteristics so we can choose the right tool for us. And then we'll finish it with an overview of the academic styles, what they are and how to use them, and more specifically in the case of citations and references, which is the most relevant topic for us maybe. So, what is a reference management software? Reference management software are tools that originated around the 80s, and they started developing basically to handle large amounts of bibliographic records. No? So when you're working with a lot of information, it's very useful to have one of these tools to organize all your information. In the module, we'll present these three tools: RefWorks, Mendeley, and Zotero. But there are many others, so feel free to use the one that you feel more comfortable with. All of them have similar functionalities. In these three, for example, they share the same functions. They can import references, they can manage this information, we can create reference lists, so bibliographies, we can insert citations into our documents, and we can share the references. But then how to choose, no? Of course, again, as I said before, choosing the right tool for you is a personal choice. All three of them are fine. So let's see look at some characteristics of each of one of them. As we mentioned before, they are very similar in some aspects. They all have some common features. They all work on a web application. They all have a plugin for words to insert citations. They have another plugin for the web importer, so we can import references from our internet browsers, and we can all share references. And again, it's not a very big choice because all of these three tools are interoperable. We can save the information in these two formats, RIS or BibTeX, and we can basically exchange all the information from one to the other. So anytime you can change the tool you're using, and it shouldn't be a big problem. More specific on each tool, for example, RefWorks is a private-owned tool. It's owned by ProQuest, and the UNED library offers this tool to the community. With your logging, the normal campus login online, you can access RefWorks. It's the first tool that offered web-based services, and interesting is that beyond the plugin for Microsoft Word, it has one for Google Docs and one for Hango. The next one that we're looking at is Mendeley. Again, this is a private-owned software tool developed by Elsevier, or owned by Elsevier. And it has, besides a web application, a desktop application that works in all Windows, Mac, and Linux. It has a plugin besides Microsoft Office to OpenOffice. And because Mendeley is owned by Elsevier, it's kind of connects with other products they offer. So it's besides being a reference management tool, it also kind of works like a network of researchers. And the last one we're looking at is Zotero. The main difference between Zotero and the previous two is that it's an open source software. So it was developed by volunteers and it's free for everyone to use. Again, this has, beside the web application, a desktop app that should work in Windows, Mac, and Linux. And the plugin works for Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. Okay, So in the next part of the module, we will get to look again at academic styles, what they are, and which one to choose, and why they're important. Academic styles are basically manuals, so that they're published by different public, associations or groups that give guidelines on how to present and organize your academic work. It will have tips on writing, on formatting, on figures and tables, and most importantly, on citations and references, which is one of the most important elements for your academic work. But in some cases, you can also have information on how to make our language more inclusive, on how to avoid plagiarism. So it's very useful to have a look at some point at them. There's many, but normally each field of knowledge has chosen already one style. No? For example, this is the APA, which is more prevalent in psychology, but also in other social sciences. We have the MLA for linguistics. Chicago is more used in law studies, but also in other humanities. And IEEE is more used in engineering. We recommend you to ask what the academic style is, the one that is prevalent in your field, and to consult them, especially the part regarding citations and references. This is our last point. This leads us to citations and references, which is maybe one of the most relevant aspects of this topic, of this module. You for sure know more or less what a citation and reference is, but just to be very specific and very clear, when we're speaking about citations, we're speaking about abbreviated notes that identify a resource, and they're in the body of the text. So we're writing our document, and then there's a citation. Whereas references are complete descriptions of the document, of the source, with all the publication data, etc. And they are normally either in the end of the text in the bibliography or in a footnote. Here we have an example of a reference in the IEEE style. Of course, it's also important to reflect on what we're citing and what we're making a reference to. So normally in academic works, you're expected to cite from academic articles that are published in scientific journals, or any document that you may find in an academic database. Could be also academic or research books or articles, but when we're thinking of information that you found online, webs, blogs, Wikipedia, it's better to avoid it unless it is strictly justified because you're speaking about this topic. One important element not to forget is that all the citations that we have in the text have a corresponding references, and all the references have a corresponding citation. So we cannot just put something in the reference list that is not reflected in the text. And it will, of course, vary from style to style, but these are the most relevant elements that a reference has inside. So basically, who's the author, who's the creator, what is the year of publication, what is the title, if it's a book, what is the title of the book, if it's an article, what is the title of the article, and what is the title of the journal. Who is the publisher and where was it published, so publication details. And if we're speaking of electronic resources also, what is, if we have it, the DOI or digital object identifier, or in case we don't have a DOI, what is the URL. And again, we have here an example of a reference that is in IEEE standards. We have the name of the author, the title of the book, and the publication details and year. In the module, you will also find links to many video lessons in each publication style, so feel free to go and find the style you're looking for, you need in your field. They're all in Spanish, but they are very useful and very complete. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this video was informative to you.